Fueled Up friends, welcome back or welcome. Happy Fueled Up Friday and welcome to 2021. I'm so happy to be here and I'm sure you are too. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ashley, aka Food for Fuel dietitian, and on my channel I give you tips to live your best, healthiest life. And speaking of that, in today's video, I want to talk about plant-based eating, per usual, but specifically, I know that in January, people tend to like to follow the trend of taking on a plant-based diet, something called Veganuary, and I totally encourage that. And for those of you who feel like that's impossible for you, I want to give you 6 ways to make that impossible possible. So let's just get right into it. The first one is to embrace the new. This goes along perfectly with the new year. But specifically what I mean when I say embrace the new, I mean embrace new recipes, and in those recipes, embrace new ingredients. If something's unfamiliar to you, Google it. You know, this is a way of growth. We need to incorporate new things in order to grow and expand our palates and the different foods that we're trying, because if we don't expand what we try, we're gonna be very limited. This may also mean embracing new cooking strategies, things that you might not have done before. The second tip is to go against the grain and shake off the stigma of plant-based eating. There is a stigma associated with plant-based eating, but you will find once you start eating like this, that the benefits outweigh all the negative judgments that come along with plant-based eating. And I always like to remind everyone, if you eat the standard American diet, you'll get the standard American disease. And we want to be our best, healthiest selves. The third way to make the impossible possible is to prioritize yourself. This is literally the only way you can make this work. And even what I mean by that is trying to think of, that meal prep time that's going to have to increase, making that your self-care time, part of your self-care, thinking of it differently. Instead of thinking of it as a task or a chore, think, wow, this is part of my self-care and something I want to do in the new year to make me better and healthier. The fourth way to make the impossible possible is to end infobesity. And what I mean by this is infobesity is a term or misinformation on the internet. And there's a lot of it and it gets overwhelming and it sometimes makes us want to run away and just say, I give up. But instead of that, I want you to take everything you see on the internet and forget about it unless it's from a very good, reputable source. And most things are not. A lot of things on the internet will say that plant-based eating does not allow for you to get enough nutrients, for example. And that's totally false. And you want to talk to a health professional, especially someone who knows about plant-based eating like myself. You want to talk to someone who actually knows the facts about it instead of the internet, which is hard to trust. The fifth way to make the impossible possible is to abstain from food addiction, or to at least be aware that you might have food addiction. Most Americans do. We should be fueling ourselves with food. However, most Americans are fueling themselves with the wrong sources of food. In fact, usually products is what I call it, because it's not really food grown from the ground. And what happens is these food industries are making so much money off of our food addictions. And it's hard to cut the addiction. However, the only way to break out of that addiction is to stop feeding it. So let's start feeding our bodies right and properly so we don't get addicted to those products that aren't really food. The sixth way to make the nearly impossible possible is to be realistic with yourself. I don't want anyone to think that plant-based eating is just a challenge, right, that you do for a month. Maybe for this first month of the year, you decide, I'm gonna start with 1 meal a day, and then I'm gonna maybe incorporate some healthy snacks. And then you can go up, increase it from there, but be realistic with yourself, or else it's not going to happen as easily, or you might get hard on yourself and want to give up and feel like a failure. And I don't want that to happen. If you find that you want to eat plant-based and really make this a lifestyle, I do plant-based coaching so that I can help you ease into that plant-based lifestyle in a nice, smooth way instead of rigid, and harsh. This is one-on-one coaching, very individualized, based on you, your needs, and your current diet now. If you like the content I post, please give a like, subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications, and please check my description where I have my information for my website. On my website, you can learn a little bit more about me, my meal prep services, my nutrition counseling, nutrition coaching, and more. Also in my description, I have my Instagram and Facebook links, and I have the link to my poetry book if you're interested in that. Please stay tuned for the next video, and I hope you have a lovely new year. Bye guys.